In the world of air cargo, the prices of freight can shift overnight. That's why it's very important to have the access and visibility of freight prices. The Hong Kong-based TAC Index is a platform that provides real-time data on the prices based on real transactional data that is collecting from freight forwarders. Hi all, thank you so much for joining. This is Libin Chacko Kurian from the Stat Trade Times. We are here in Munich, Germany for Air Cargo Europe 2025 and the Transport Logistic exhibitions. Right now, joining me is the founder and managing director of TAC Index. John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John. So let's start by talking about your company. First, the most important thing is the data that you collect, right? So give us an idea about how you do that. What is your business model, maybe to start with?
Sure. I think just taking a step back is what are we aiming to do? So from inception, the essential mission statement for air cargo is that we are the settlement price for both physical and derivative contracts. So the focus of the company is risk management. So all the new products and the current products point towards that. So the original indices that's up and running at the moment, and we're actually going into a version 2 build out of that now with its fully automated, moving to daily 7-day rolling publication, increasing the coverage and that type of thing. So that is TAC Index, and that product is called TAC Freight and BAI. And what those are, as you said, they are built, or the methodology of that is based on the transactional data from the Marston House Airway Bill, predominantly coming from the forwarders. We also get data from the airlines for that indices, but that's more for a quality control check. And to give you an idea, the business model for those indices, basically we generate revenue from the shippers. We do a data swap with the forwarders, we do a data swap with the airlines, and we generate revenue from the financial institutions. So that's the core basis of what we do. And essentially what we do, we get the past 7 days of transactional data gets sent to us which comes from Monday, day 1, through to Sunday, day 7. And then we have a few hours to turn it around, and we publish that weekly, currently, every Monday. And that's the main indices that people are aware of us. We just launched the new indices, which focus on spot-only data, and that is now in daily indices. And that's using a different methodology. It's the same methodology that the Baltic Exchange uses for the Baltic dry indices, and it's based on panelist experts. So what happens is every day, let's say 4 p.m. Hong Kong local time, all the panelists, experts in Hong Kong tell us what they feel the market rate is at the close of business that day. We're not asking what their rate is, we're saying what is your expert opinion on where the market is closing that day. And what happens is they submit it to the Baltic, they then have an assessor in Singapore, he double checks it, and then we have like a half an hour, 1 hour turnaround, and we publish. And that's really interesting. And we've just launched it out of Hong Kong. So we do Hong Kong, US East Coast, Hong Kong, US West Coast, Hong Kong, Europe. And we've been trialing it for about 8 months. It's all working. It's all been announced. And those will be used as the settlement price for futures and options contracts. And so again, it all focuses around risk management. And since we're moving into that side of the market, especially with the financial institutions, they're also quite keen on capacity and how that's flowing. So we also have a new, it's called TAC Space. Basically, we can track capacity on a daily basis on how it's changing on all the routes around the world. So you've got both the supply and demand side. And so that's our sort of core data product suite. And then we're also moving into doing some smart contracts for shippers and forwarders. But that's another topic for another day. But that's something new that we're working on.
Okay, can you give us an idea about the geographies where you are present? Which are the routes that is present in your?
Yeah, I mean, so what it is with our original indices, it was a very manual process. And what happened is essentially we were being bottlenecked, and we have a whole pool of data, but it would take, just to give you an example, it would take us something like 8 to 10 hours to process the index every Monday. So if we wanted to do a new route, it takes us another 8 or 10 hours, and then that sucks up all the time for the data team. So what we've done with the new version 2 is basically fully automated. It is working now in beta, and we're aiming to launch in Q3. And essentially, you press a button, and we can do the whole lot. And all the routes are essentially global. But our target is more the top 1 to 200 routes by volume. Because again, what we're using this for is going back to the original mission statement as a settlement price for both physical air cargo contracts and derivative air cargo contracts. And so you know, whether you're flying from Hong Kong to Amsterdam, which is the main trade lane, or maybe you're interested in Shenzhen, Gothenburg, it'll be very closely correlated. So we do some bespoke reports upon request if people want to know what the difference is. But generally, it'll go up and down, and there'll just be a delta difference, that type of thing.
What is the immediate priority in terms of bringing in the new routes? Is there any particular region that you want to focus right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, particularly with these Trump tariffs and all this, is a very messy. So that's good for indices, because then people say, I need this data now. But what I think the markets, again, just so you know, we are essentially called a price reporting agency. So we're like a mini Bloomberg. We are a media news outlet. We're also classified as a calculating agent, and Baltic Exchange is the benchmark administrator. So technically, we are not allowed to give forecasts on where the market's going. But walking around the trade show today, I could give you some what people are saying. So it's not me saying it. It's what I've heard in the market. And also, we get the requests in our system about which routes they want us to start. So you're seeing this kind of China +1+2 policy with the supply chains moving out, getting a lot of demand out of particularly Thailand to the US. It's quite interesting. We're getting North Vietnam, Hanoi to the US. It's quite interesting. A lot of interest out of Taiwan. The Hong Kong market is doing sort of slightly better than expected. It's sort of still edging up. So they said that the general cargo is doing well, even though the e-commerce has dropped off. So it's okay. It's okay. And I think also the market's sort of benefiting a little bit with the jet fuel prices dropping. So that gives a little bit more wiggle room for people to play around with. The other big area that we're looking at is outbound India. We're very keen on that market. And so we're having a big push into that market. And then you've also got the sort of Chinese supply chains moving more a little bit to Africa, to South America, and people like, my understanding is that people like Tim and Sheen, you know, had already had in their playbook what will happen if the de minimis changes or the Trump tariffs come into effect. What do we do? And that's part of their strategy, is to open up the other markets quickly. So they seem to be executing that strategy, I believe. I've heard. These are rumors.
So there are two things that you mentioned. One is that the trade disruptions make the indices more important. On the other side, you are a reporting agency for these prices. What is interesting for me about TAC Index is that you put out a newsletter, a LinkedIn newsletter, so every week,
yes,
based on the prices. So that's a reflection of what is happening in the market. Particularly last month, there has been a lot of volatility in the market, particularly the Trans-Pacific market. Give us an idea, because you also mentioned it's a COVID-like situation. So can you give an idea about what you're hearing from them?
Yeah, so I'm just, I'm more based out in Asia. So I go to Hong Kong, I talk to the traders at the coalface, and I'm trying to get a feel about what their sentiments are in the market. A lot of the local forwarders out in Hong Kong feel that the situation is quite similar to what happened with COVID. You see a big sort of disruption in the sea container business for a couple of months, and then it takes about 10 months to recover. and I think they're feeling that's the pattern. And I think there is a general little bit more optimism in the market that the market will stabilize later in the year. and it's not as bad as everyone might have expected it to be. So there's, as I said, the market, it seems to be bubbling along. It's not an easy market; it's moving around, but it hasn't crashed out in that time.
So you also mentioned the recent announcement that you did, the launch of the Baltic Air Freight Spot Indices. So how important is that, and what is the kind of demand for that is coming from your clients? You know, the freight forwarders or the shippers who are your clients.
Oh yeah, there's been very well received in the market because it's really giving you a snapshot of what's happening in the market in near real time, and you can actually see it over the course of the week, the trend in the market. If it, you know, by midweek it's going up or down, and it's a very, very powerful tool. We've had very positive response from the market for this, and they say we're very happy with this. We're going to roll it out across and then expand the coverage as required. So we got the support to expand it now.
Yeah. So you also operate in a landscape where you deal with data.
Yeah.
And I have seen some of the new hires in your company from the data point of view. I met some of your colleagues. Give us an idea about how you analyze this data and how important it is to have that analysis and how it helps your clients.
Yeah, I would say most of the people that we bring into our company are not from logistics. So they're all heavy academics. I think we've got about 5 or 8 PhDs. They're all good maths, so they're polymaths. They're the brains. So they also, the good thing about them is they're not biased when they're looking at the data. They're just looking at pure data and what insights can we get from it? How can we make? One of the things that we do is actually help the users improve their own data quality in their own systems, and that's one of the big bonuses that we do that people aren't really aware of. So not only do we essentially benchmark pricing, we also benchmark data quality, and because we've got the expertise in our company to do that, and most of these logistics guys, maybe they don't have the bandwidth or they don't have a dedicated team to do this. We can really sort of help them, you know, because what we want good data in, it's good data out. So the better we can make your data, the better our data is. So it's a bit selfish from our point, but it helps. It helps both parties.
Recently, I have noticed many interesting data companies are coming into the market and or maybe emerging. But give us an idea, but they all have different strategies. Different sources to collect the data, from somebody from customs, somebody from freight forwarders, airlines. So what makes you different? What I'm talking about is more a competition, if you see.
Yeah, as I said, we, again, like, as you said, everyone has a different focus. Our focus is risk management. So we're the risk management guy. So it's a little bit like we're the news chaps, and the other guys are a bit more opinion in the market. And again, that our target is to bring in new risk management tools to the market, which we're already doing a number of multi-year index-linked contracts with physical delivery, and those have been working well. I'm not allowed to say who they are, but now saying that worked, let's do the futures and options. And a nice way to think of the options is a little bit like insurance. So what you could do, you could pay a small premium. Let's say the market normally fluctuates between $20 and $30. If you're worried that the market's going to go above $40, you could pay a small premium to make sure it doesn't. And then at the time, if the market's under $40, you lose the option. If it goes above $40, you pay the premium and you've locked in your price. So that's sort of where we're trying to get to with the market. We're not there yet. It's a long way away, but it's already been 12 years, but keep pushing.
Okay. Yeah. So one last question, John. With risk management as your focus, what would be your immediate priority in terms of moving forward, pushing the company TAC Index forward? What are your immediate priorities?
Yeah, I would say it's two things. One is it's taken us quite a long time to do this daily spot indices. There's a huge amount of compliance, very difficult for people to do. And now we've got that running, it's all approved by the financial service authorities. We're having now a push to the exchanges to get it listed now for that. And also part of that process is essentially expanding the coverage on the lanes that people are most interested in. So probably like outbound Vietnam, outbound Thailand, outbound India, but we can do anywhere. So basically we will expand the routes with what our customers want to see. So if we want to do routes out of here, say fine, you guys start giving us the data and we'll do the route. and the thing is, we can turn on these spot routes very quickly now. And it's all part of the main Baltic platform for spot indices publications. So therefore, it takes a long time to set up, but once it's set up, then it's all good to go. And just so you're aware, with the Baltic Spot methodology, it's not just calling a guy and saying what the rates are. There are lots of levels of compliance and second checking that goes on underneath, and that's more the secret sauce. So I'm not going to tell everyone exactly what's happening there, but that's what we do.
John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Okay, cheers. Bye-bye.